Be careful who you choose is a common expression in the Philippines. Blurted out by total strangers on the street you've never met before. Being asked, "Are you single?" 20 times a day, even before you're asked your name. To which I respond, "Yes, still searching." Take your time, they say. Don't settle with the first one you meet. Choose wisely. Searching, however, comes with a Filipina health warning. Only 10 previous owners. Buyer beware. Don't worry. I'm not going to settle for the first Filipina who admits undying love for me. Now, I wish I'd known these things when I first started dating Filipinas 5 years ago. It would have saved me a lot of grief, and I might still have hair.
Hi, I'm Eric, and welcome to another edition of Expat News. Okay, so let's start off this week's edition with some of the news highlights, what's kind of happening around the Philippines with both expats and expat bloggers.
Security guard at SM Mall who was fired after a viral video showed him kicking a schoolgirl trying to sell some flowers outside the mall. The guard kicked and attempted to destroy, I would say he destroyed, the girl's flowers, but she fought back. SM Mega Mall condemned the incident, stating they promote inclusivity and have dismissed the guard. The Philippines National Police and Mandaluyong City Police are investigating with possible charges and license revocation for the guard. Authorities are also looking into the accountability of the security agency and are working to identify the girl involved. Now, when I first saw that, like many of you, I'm sure, like, what are you doing, man? You're a grown-ass dude kicking a little girl and you're holding a shoddy Benghazi across your chest, bro. What are you doing? Some of you might say, well, this guy's doing his job, but I doubt anywhere in his job description it says to kick somebody like that and destroy their property.
Let's chat about the elephant in the room. Should you rent or buy in the Philippines? As the self-proclaimed smart Filipina, my advice is crystal clear. Rent, don't own. Why, you ask? Because who wants to be anchored to one spot when you can be crossed between James Bond and Indiana Jones, exploring every inch the Philippines has to offer? Renting in the Philippines is not just affordable, it's practically a steal. You get to live in a wanky condo without worrying about the next rainy season turning your walls into a mold factory or the building amenities, going from luxury to what amenities? Ownership sounds good on paper until you realize that rental yields here are about as exciting as drinking a San Mig Zero. Plus, good luck trying to sell that condo later. It's like trying to sell balut to a foreigner. And let's not forget the joys of new management turning your dream home into a rulebook nightmare. One day, you're living it up. The next, you're arguing over how many guests you can have over. And some mock-up is telling your beautiful Filipina girlfriend she can't swim in the pool because she doesn't have the right swimsuit. Imagine spending all that money and the only words you hear every day are, "Sorry, sir, not allowed." In conclusion, the condo market crash of 2025 is a cautionary tale of overzealous development meeting economic reality. And for anyone contemplating their next move in the Philippines, remember this: renting keeps you flexible, happy, and free from the headaches of property ownership. Follow this smart Filipina's advice, and your life in the Philippines will be less about maintenance and more about making memories. Remember, it's more fun in the Philippines when you're smart.
Next up, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. moved to transfer $400 million of his contingency funds to restore the Department of Tourism's branding budget, which will boost promotions for Philippine destinations and translate to more arrivals and tourist spending. And the president, he said, I quote, "We have to maintain the momentum. There's already momentum. It doesn't hurt that we have people like Sofrinio winning The Voice and that we have Kaloy Yulo winning the Olympics." Inspiring news, traveler vlogger Cash Medina Umanda has been to every corner of the world, achieving every traveler's dream by visiting all 195 countries using her Philippines passport. Now she's setting her sights on exploring all 82 provinces of the Philippines. At 20, Cash left the country as an overseas Filipino worker. In 2013, she said her wanderlust to travel around the globe kicked in as she started her backpacking trips. Quote, eventually visiting all 7 continents became a goal, Kat said in Filipino. Kuwait was her first country she visited. Sudan was her last stop. Quote, they just opened the country. I got my clearance, and then last week I went to Sudan, she said. Now back in the Philippines, the digital nomad plans to travel to all its provinces. Quote, I hope to travel every province in the Philippines and hoping to educate the younger ones to start young. But the fact that she went to every single country on a Philippines passport says a lot. I can't imagine her determination and all the obstacles she had to overcome, because it's not a very strong passport, and 36 female, it's not very easy to get some visa. So good for her. Hopefully she inspires a lot more Filipinos to go ahead and explore all the countries around the world.
Many of you remember, some of you don't, Elliot Eastman was a young man who was married to a Muslim woman in southwest Mindanao. He was abducted, shot as he tried to resist in the legs, I guess, and they've caught a number of people who have been involved in that. Anyway, they caught the brains, the guy who kind of decided to kind of set this whole thing up. Apparently, brains behind Elliot Eastman's abduction nabbed. I go down here, and this is from Sunstar PH. Police arrested the alleged mastermind in the abduction of American vlogger Elliot Eastman in the waters off Zamboanga City and Basilan Strait. And in the report, police regional office, Zamboanga Peninsula, said the suspect, identified as Ustadz Jakaria Jamini, 35, was arrested on the afternoon January 7th at the boundary of Zamboanga City and Basilan Strait seawater. Jamani was nabbed by virtue of an arrest warrant for kidnapping and serious illegal detention. The charges were related to the abduction of Eastman on October 17th, 2024, from his wife's residence in Suboco, Zamboanga del Norte, along with other suspects. Number of names here. Who remains at large? And this guy remains at large. I think they've captured these guys. In December, Sawan confirmed that Eastman was already dead based on the confession of 2 individuals who were arrested in relation to the case. While he was being taken by the suspects, Eastman tried to fight back, prompting his abductors to shoot him in the legs, I understand. While being transported through the sea, Eastman reportedly died and his body was thrown off the water. Eastman, pretty young guy, had been warned that there were people wanting to kidnap him. He had a YouTube channel and was talking about how he was loaning money and charging interest to help build out his little store. I think sorry store, something like that. And anyway, we don't know the entire motives behind it yet, but there you have it. The next story, BI nabs 400 foreigners in Paranaque scam hub. And a lot of these operate, they claim they are POGOs, Philippine offshore gaming organizations, which are now banned in the Philippines. President Marcos Jr. Banned them. They all was supposed to shut down by the end of December 2024. But here they are. There are a lot, most, if not all, of the legal registered POGOs have shut down. Tens of thousands of those foreigners, mostly Chinese, but other Southeast Asian foreigners as well, have been, they've either been detained and or already deported out of the country. What happens, they come here on a tourist visa, they end up working in these POGOs and not leaving. And so they're illegal here in the Philippines. POGOs were involved in, some POGOs, not all, but some were involved in kidnapping and extortion and loan sharking and prostitution and drug trade and just a number of different things as well. So close to 400 foreign nationals were apprehended during the raid on the alleged scam hub Wednesday. The BI uncovered the illegal aliens working for a company similar to a Philippine offshore gaming operator, POGO. Said the suspects were believed to be engaged in illegal activities, including online scams targeting victims abroad, Americans, Westerners, people from all over the world, Koreans, Japanese, whatever, love scams, crypto scams, all sorts of things. Foreigners underwent booking procedures. They will remain in BI custody while awaiting deportation proceedings. The directive of President Marcos is clear. POGO workers who insist on staying in the country and violating our laws will be arrested and deported. He said the raid is part of BI's efforts to combat illegal activities, ensure that foreign nationals comply with Filipino laws. We will not tolerate any activities that endanger the safety, welfare of the public. And the fact that there are probably 300 or 30,000 Filipinos losing their jobs, with POGOs being forced to leave the Philippines. And that doesn't count probably over 100,000. I've seen figures on up around 150,000 Chinese and other nationals that are involved in that type of thing. So that is a pretty good sized city that you're emptying office space and residential spaces, and not just condominiums. But one article I did video on many months ago, they even made up 80% of a housing subdivision. The POGOs rented the houses and operated hundreds of people operated out of those scam hubs.
How the hell did this happen to me, and why? This whole thing is the conclusion of about a 3-month journey that I've been taking with my eyes. I had been diagnosed with cataracts years ago, and up till recently, that was easily corrected with brand new glasses. They just keep increasing the strength of the glasses. And finally, we got to the point of no return. And about 3 months ago, I had to have cataract surgery.
And now it's time for the video of the week. The video of the week is where I've gone through so many videos this week putting together the Expat news, and I've come across something that I find really interesting or entertaining, and I thought the information was worth sharing with you. And what I typically do is just slice out a segment of that video, or I just do a summarized version of it.
Guys, I can't show too much of where I am right now, but I'm going to show you the door and the knives that were used as the weapon and the holes that were made. I'm just going to keep everything close up to not show much. But that is one of them. That was attack knife number 1 and attack knife number 2. He was standing right here dodging these knives, and that is the outcome right there.
Hey, what's up, guys? I have got, I think, the craziest relationship story from my time in the Philippines that I've ever heard. Since over 2 years of being here, hearing endless crazy stories, telling a lot of these stories on the channel, this one takes the cake. This is absolutely nuts. Now, the video at the beginning, I shot that yesterday here in Dumaguete. So I recently met this guy, and the story just came up in conversation, and I couldn't believe what came about in this guy's life, in this particular situation, and this particular relationship. And what I showed you at the beginning, that's absolutely nuts. But what blew me away more is just how the whole thing transpired and how the story ends and what is happening right now with this guy. It's absolutely crazy. Jealousy is a common experience everywhere, but in the Philippines, it's next level. It can be small situational jealousy, or it can be next level rage, guys, and everything in between. The way that I understand it, they look at it as part of their culture. They look at it as it's part of being a Filipino. It doesn't mean all Filipinas are the jealous type, but I think there's a much higher percentage, and I think the level of jealousy goes much higher here. And certainly in this particular story, next level, guys. The other big point that I want to make about relationships in the Philippines is quite often Filipinas are all or nothing. When you're in and you're in good with a Filipina, She will devote herself to you. She will treat you like the king that you've always wanted to be treated like. Devoted, caring, often clingy, very affectionate, all in, focused on you. You are her man. Her whole life will revolve around you, which often makes a guy feel so secure, so happy, so well taken care of. And things can be absolutely amazing when you're in that environment with a Filipina. Big highs, big lows. When things are good, they're amazing. But when things take a wrong turn and there's some sort of jealousy involved, things can get absolutely nuts. Okay, so for a little backstory, this guy has been living in the Philippines for a while, and he had been dating some different Filipinas and not really having any luck. And he said that he was dating more like younger, attractive girls, and he was pretty surprised with how he was getting so much attention. And he got caught up in that for a little while, but he got tired of not finding compatibility. He said a lot of them were just too focused on money, and he was just done with it. And he thought, I need to find someone a little bit older, a little bit more established, a little more independent, so he can be relatable, so he doesn't have to worry about her just wanting him for his money and things like that. And he ended up meeting this girl who was a little over 30 years old, very attractive, very successful, like driving a car, owns real estate, things like that, high level of education. And so it was perfect. He said it was instant connection, easy to get along with, easy to relate, and the level of maturity, he just said, that's exactly what he was looking for. So they started the relationship and everything was great. They were intertwining their life in every way. Things were moving pretty fast. They ended up moving in together. But after several months of being together, he saw the first sign of his girlfriend having a very bad temper and switching from sweet, very clingy, very affectionate, and very loving to immediately very distant, very angry. And in his words, he was pretty scared, to the point where he was like, what did I just get myself into? So this first situation was basically just a freak out over something that he described as being pretty small. And he just couldn't believe how quickly she went from more chill and sweet and mature and all of that to rage level angry during a little argument that they had, basically about his exes back in the country that he's from, that she was asking about. And the more she was asking about that, he could see it in her face and in her eyes, her visualizing him with another girl. And she started to have her blood boil and she just freaked out. He described in the moment that he kind of froze a little bit, took a step back, was really starting to question things with her. But he said what happened was, in the same day that she went crazy, she made up for it. She completely admitted to her overreaction. And by the time it was nighttime and before they went to bed, they actually regrouped and got back on the same page. He said from that point on, things went right back to being fantastic. He said he eventually just forgot all about it. He said the pros were so good and she had her shit together. She was so good to him. She was so caring and sweet and affectionate. Chemistry between the two of them. He said it was just amazing. That led to further progression in the relationship. And they started talking about wanting to have kids. And her especially, she was really, really keen on having kids. She was already in her 30s, didn't have any kids. And so they made the plan to actually move forward with that and try to start having a kid together. And they realized after a year of trying, nothing was happening. And that led to more tension in the relationship. And it created a little bit of a distance between the two of them. And it eventually led to them taking time apart. He said it just killed everything. And he said they needed to split up. So this is where it gets crazy. During the time that they were broken up, he ends up seeing another girl who he proceeds to start dating. And right away, early on in the relationship with this girl, he gets her pregnant. Now he's pregnant with a new girl that he just started dating. Fast forward a few months, things faded away with that girl that he got pregnant, and he starts chatting with his ex again, eventually reconnecting with her and rekindling everything back to where it was before. And they start living together and everything was great again. They were back on track. She was okay with the fact that they weren't going to have kids. She accepted it. She moved on and life was great again. Well, what was eating away at him, naturally, is the fact that he got another girl pregnant that she does not know about. And after a few weeks of living together again, he knew that he had to come clean. He said, if I'm going to stay with this girl, if we are going to have a future together, she's going to have to find out. And I'm going to have to tell her as soon as possible because it was eating away at him. So one night, he sits her down after dinner and starts the conversation. And he just told her everything. Simple as it was. They were apart, they broke up, he started seeing someone, and he ended up getting her pregnant right away. And in the end, it wasn't a compatible thing, and he didn't want to stay with her, but whether he liked it or not, he got her pregnant, and he was having a child with her. The one thing that he couldn't do with this girl that she wanted so badly is to get pregnant with him. He immediately gets another Filipina pregnant within a few weeks of separating from that relationship. Guys, you saw the beginning of the video. She lost it. She went absolutely nuts. He already knew that she had a temper. He already knew that she has jealousy in her, and he already knew that she can get pretty angry pretty quickly. But he said it went complete nightmare. This is how it all started. He said, she stood up, she started yelling, she started going between like yelling and then just like crying and then yelling and crying and holding her head. And then she snapped and she just started breaking stuff, literally like kicking things, kicking doors in, grabbing something and breaking glasses, breaking windows, smashing the whole house. The whole house was broken glass and holes in the walls, and she went absolutely nuts. Then she turned the anger on him. She went back to the kitchen, grabbed the first knife, ran at him swinging, took a swing at him. That one went into the door and fell on the ground as he got out of the way. She went back to the drawer, grabbed the other knife, came at him again. He got out of the way, and it put a hole in that part of the door. And that's when he was able to calm her down after she lost control of the second knife and just hold her. And he was absolutely terrified. He knew she was kind of out of her mind and extremely upset, but all he could think to do at that moment was like grab onto her and hug her tightly. So for one, she couldn't move and go anywhere, and grab another knife. For two, to try to calm her down, get her to relax. And he held her there for a while, he said. She started bawling. She lost all her energy and her stiffness and tightness and just sort of like melted and relaxed in his arms. And they didn't say much of a word the rest of the night. He didn't know what to do. Part of him wanted to like call the police, run out the door, but he thought to himself, I just gave her the worst news I could possibly give her. It's absolutely terrible what happened. And he just sort of went into this frozen state, and he decided to stay there as he was realizing this technique of hugging her and holding her was working. And he just stuck with her for the rest of the night. He didn't let go of her. They didn't say anything. She cried the whole night until she fell asleep. And that was it. And he said the next morning when he first opened his eyes, she wasn't in with him. And he was like, he immediately started to feel paranoid. Like, what is she doing? Pops out of bed to go see if she's around. She was in the kitchen making him breakfast. And they had breakfast together and they talked the rest of the day. He let her feel like it was justified what she did. And that in turn made her feel at ease and calm and appreciative of the understanding. And it made her feel understanding of the situation. That's the best way that he could describe it, because from that point on, things actually went in a good direction. And they are together still today. In fact, the child has been born and he is involved with the child. And guess who also is involved with the child? His partner. She has 100% accepted the situation. She's accepted the child. She feels connected to a child that she's always wanted and never was able to have. And now, as unique and crazy as that whole situation is, they're in a better situation than they ever thought they could be. And in a unique way, there's a bit of a family happening with a child being involved and visiting frequently, and openness to the girl and friendship with the girl. Total peace, total understanding, total cooperation of everything. And they've carried on things for the past couple of years completely healthy. In fact, she has gone to counseling to work on anger management, and she's been committed to that. And there has been no issues since then. And he's like, dude, it's the best relationship I've ever had. And he's like, as crazy as it sounds, and as 99% of guys would have called the police, would have ran for the hills, never to return again. He said he just felt something inside that he had to hang on. He's like, he's the happiest he's ever been. I think a lot of guys probably be sleeping with one eye open every night. But in this case, I'm looking at this guy eye to eye as he's telling me the story. I'm like, all right, I'm convinced you guys have a solid relationship going. And this guy had no doubts, no fear whatsoever about the future, about something like that happening again. He's like, I know what triggers her. I know what I should and shouldn't be doing. And of course, if I'm off dating other girls and getting girls pregnant, well, maybe I'll trigger that again. But he's like, I'm never doing that again. And the more open he is and the more forthcoming he is, and both of them together, he said it's created such a good bond because they just both feel like nothing is going to be hidden. Nothing at all will be a secret. And it's put them both at ease. It's working out. Anyways, guys, there you have it. My love story for the day. What a love story that was. In the end, it's a beautiful love story.
Let's finish up this week with the Expat Lightning Round. The Lightning Round is where I give you some quick highlights of expats and expat bloggers in the Philippines that either was interesting or funny or something that happened that I thought you'd find interesting. Let's take a look at the information this week.
I just want to go on record. She's actually sweeping past the vacuum that does the job for us.
What?
You're sweeping the dirt past the vacuum.
Yeah, because the vacuum didn't do his best. Didn't do the work.
The vacuum's not as good as the Filipina.
Of course.
You don't want to record the designated outdoor peeing spot?
Because he always pee outside.
Well,
so
it's
like,
easy.
yeah, and we can save a lot of water too. It's thank you for that.
Okay, well, I try to feed the plants. I Googled it because she told me my pee might kill the plants. I Googled it, and it's actually healthy for the plants. So it's imported pee. I would think they'll probably grow flowers.
I want to show you guys the plant that just died because of your.
Not because of me.
Oh, it's really die. You keep peeing on it. It's a lot of you.
Okay.
What's that in the pee? Urine. Oh.
Urine? Yeah, there is a lot of urine
Urea?
in the pee. Okay.
I'll show you them where you can pee.
Glad to be back in the Philippines. No.
No, it's a no.
Did you miss me?
Sure, of course.
Oh, wow. Well, for those of you that don't know, Chrissy is my wife of 5 years, and she's my entire life. Everything I do is for Chrissy. And yeah, I missed her tremendously, but that's okay. She's back for now in my life. Enjoy your evening?
Yeah, not really.
You know, you take your wife out, spend a few dollars, you know, go for a little walk, try and make it as romantic as possible. And
I don't mean with you, Timoy. I meant the surroundings. Like,
what can a man do? What can a man do to be appreciated in 2025? We're in one of the nicest places in the Philippines, the Rockwell area of Makati. But I have to say, my friends, I'm ecstatic. I'm with Chrissy. I couldn't be happier. And it was a difficult 2 weeks, but we got through it. And now we're spending time together. If Chrissy ever leaves me, it will not be a pretty sight for me. It will be like the ripping and tearing away of my flesh. And I think probably the greatest amount of pain I could ever experience, and I don't even want to go there and think about it, but it is good to be back together. I love marriage, guys. I think there's so much out there in the YouTube world about marriage being a bad thing. It has probably saved my life.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Everyone Has a Story channel. And for those who didn't know, I am Jen. I am Mark's wife. I just want to make this video a thank you video to those people who live in the US or outside in the Philippines who sent donation through GCash and in PayPal. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your blessing or for sending your support, your donation for Rogan's expenses. And thank you so much. It really means a lot to me, especially for my son. And it helps us for his future expenses. For the people who live here in the Philippines, for sending their donation. From Elvera, thank you so much for the support. And I didn't expect this from the stranger who's willing to support other people's financial expenses. So it may be just a word for you, but for me, it really means a lot. It's so hard to live when you are used to have a partner, and I'm just, I'm trying to be strong for my family, for my son, and thinking about to keep his channel alive. I will mm, I will try to make a video, just a family video, because Mark really wants to show this to our son in the future, so that he's got this video to watch on, and at least he's got the video with his dad. And I kept on telling him that daddy loves you so much, daddy care for you so much, and so maybe one of these days, maybe one of these days, I don't know, but maybe. So it's a very big difference now, and so yeah, have a nice day, and God will bless you more.
All right, well, that's it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed what you saw here, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.